Today I've got something a little different for you. Instead of painting just one subject, we're going to build a whole page of 12 low-risk, high-reward mini paintings. We'll fill a grid with warm autumn colours and relaxed doodles inspired by the season. Think scattered leaves and berries, little seed pods, all those tiny treasures you might find on a walk. As you paint, you'll notice ideas emerging that you may want to take further in more developed pieces. It's easy, calming, and a lovely way to pull together techniques from our recent sessions into creating something fresh and fun. So let's get started. Hi everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my channel. Hope you're feeling well and having a good day. Today I'm going to be drawing together some threads from various different paintings that we've been doing autumnally themed over the last few days. And what we're going to be doing is using, first of all, some autumn coloured browns and oranges. Doesn't matter what they're called. I will put the names of these ones in the description below, but basically we've got things like burnt umber, burnt sienna, raw umber, and I've also got the Piemontite from Daniel Smith here. That's one of those granulating colours. And I've also got a set of the Kuretake Gansai Tambi granulating colours as well to add a little bit of texture. As well, I've got my starry colours from Kuretake. These are basically golds and silver and so on and so forth, which we might use as touches on the painting as it goes forward. So get rid of those boxes out of the way. Paper is going to be Meeden, of course, but 12 by 9, so it's a little bit bigger today. And I have already divided it up into squares because this is going to be a grid painting. Just divided it into 12 3-inch squares. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, paint some backgrounds. They're going to be a little bit different to the way we've been doing them before, which was perhaps like this. This is one that we've done recently in a slightly different way from normal too, but this one is going to be another different kind of way. So I'm going to be using a relatively small brush because they're quite small squares, and I'm going to be breaking them up into sections. So I don't want it to be too small, the brush. Let's go for a number 7, shall we, since I've got one handy. I've got a sponge here to dab off my rinsed out brush in between colours if I need to. And I'm also using a collection of various and assorted pens. I'll show you what they are when we come to it, when I decide which ones I'm going to be using for line work. So, oh yes, so the Piemontite I have put in here, in this one here. And what that looks like, before you've done anything with it, mixed it with anything, is it looks like that. And so that's a nice soft colour. And this is another one I'm going to be using, which will be this one. And this one possibly, perhaps that's a granulating black. And this one, which is a kind of quinacridone orange. And maybe this is burnt sienna. So those are the sorts of colours, and I'm probably going to be aiming for something really quite neutral like this with just touches of orange in it. I think that's what I'm going to do. So this is going to be fun, I think. I'll start at the top left-hand corner and pick up a little bit of my Piemontite, which I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I'm going to paint using a fair amount of water and quite roughly. And if you want a lot of texture on your paintings, one thing you can do, if you want to make it quite light and quite textured, without needing to go to any great lengths with things like stencils and I don't know, this, that, and the other, just crumple a tissue and lay it on top and just gently rub it over, and you'll get texture as the paper picks up what's underneath. I want that nice and light. Then I'm going to go for the brown, the next one, and we're going to make that overlap. And you can leave your edges nice and rough like that for a bit more texture. And you can also, if you want to, just drop in drops of water like that to make more patterns there in that textured substance that you have on the paper, which is called paint. Okay, so then the next one, maybe I'll use the Piemontite again, but perhaps a little bit stronger, perhaps a little bit. Try to make the squares or rectangles vary. They don't have to be all the same size. In fact, you don't really want them to be all the same size. And you can just mix a little bit of something else in to vary the colours a little bit, or if you want, you can stay pretty much in 2 colours or something like that. So I'm not filling up the whole area. We're just leaving spaces so that we can basically embellish the shapes. If you don't want them to overlap too much, just do them side by side. Or you could paint one colour and wait for it to dry and then come back and paint the next one. You could do that too. But I'm sticking to autumn colours here, this kind of dead leaf idea. Again, as I was saying the other day, the idea of the paintings that I do is to just relax and get away from the things that are in your life that you don't enjoy, you know. And you'll get different things cropping up as you go along. I'm going to put some dots into this one too, maybe 1 or 2 here, because it does give it a lot more interest. I think I possibly want to put one here. It's interesting watching it run like that, isn't it? Might have gone a little bit far over there, but never mind. I knew that line was going to be a bit faint. When I did it, I thought, oops. Because this is going to be a set, you know, the 12 of them all on one piece of paper, you want to kind of stick with the theme. But everyone should be slightly different. You could use any colour for this, obviously. It doesn't have to be the colours I've chosen, but you could do it with greens and things like that if you wanted to. Look at the granulating effect coming in there. This one I'm not happy with, so I'm going to come in again with something a bit darker there. quite nice where the black has gone into that, isn't it? It's a bit different. Okay, just 3 more to go. Let's take this one all the way up to there, perhaps. And we can go back over some of them because now they've started to dry. You can give more texture by dabbing in with your tissue. More texture than when it was very, very wet. So don't lose everything. Perhaps it's the best idea to go into the ones that are plainer, like that there. That one's dry. Oh yeah. Okay, and let's have So the idea of this is that this is just background, okay, like we often do. And then we're going to do some patterns, some designs on top. By the time you've painted a dozen of these, you'll have decided which ones are your favourites. So you might, look upon this as being a bit of a project where you might do more than one of these. It's not a kind of, that's it, finish kind of situation here. Okay, so I'm going to dry them. I've let them have their head and they've swooshed around a bit, and now we're going to dry them. Okay, so I'm going to sort of mix up a little bit of paint in this one here, make this orange a bit more liquidy for future use. And this one as well, which is a burnt sienna kind of colour. Just add some more water to that because I might want to dip something into it. Not quite sure yet. And this one too. I put these out yesterday and they have dried out a little bit. Let's move this over perhaps so you can see a bit better. It's a nice rich one, isn't it? That's a kind of Indian red, that one. I think this one's autumn tint. This one is a purple colour, very dark purple, which is called, no, not quinacridone purple. What is it? Oh, I can't remember. I'll have to tell you at the end because I can't remember at the moment. I don't want to waste too much time. So what we're going to do now is probably take a pen. You could do it in brown or you could do it in black. I think maybe the brown might not be dark enough. I think I'll probably go with black. And This is a 0.6. That might be nice and strong. So let's start up the top here and do some leaves. Start with the simplest idea of all. Okay, so we're not going to do them all like this. But we'll do the first ones a bit like this, and then I might switch to a really thick, is that black? Yes. To do the leaves themselves. It's just a bit quicker. If there's any skill in this, it's spacing the leaves out so that they look right. And so, well, you know, that's kind of something you just get the hang of eventually. So I'm going to put some dots here and there, like that. And you could then, if you wanted to, go into the nice black leaves with gold and put in your veins. Completely optional what you do with these designs. But, you know, as we said before, as I have said before, this is the kind of thing you spend time doing when you just want to relax. Just doing some gold spirals here. And with my small 0.6, just do some dots up here. Okay, I think we'll leave that one like that. It's a nice, simple one. This one, we could do what? What shall we do here? This is where you go and look at some of the ones you've done previously, and you think, yeah, okay, we can do it like that. Let's do something slightly different. Let's what? Let's do some stylized seed heads, perhaps. Something like that. Maybe it should cross over there. And then put some nice dots on top. We could try some white. Thing is, it's not always easy to know exactly what to do. In fact, it's actually quite hard to decide. But just, you know, I'm not going to put any more black dots. What I will do is go to my paint, and I'm going to put a little bit of orange in here. and maybe down here as well. Something like that. And to link it to the other ones, just some dots. Okay, now this one is kind of saying flower. And then we're going to have to paint that with a nice bright colour. Burnt sienna, something like that. Maybe we'll use some of this over here. That looks a bit too much like a spider to me, so I'm going to go over it. Looks like a spider's web now. So this is where I'm going to correct myself and pick up some nice gold and paint the whole thing out with a nice circle. And then that takes you onto another whole idea. And you say, no, I don't even like that one, so I'll paint that one gold too, make that into a gold circle, and maybe do some line work on that later. It's often been my experience that the ones that I felt I'd done wrong often turn out in the end to be the ones I like the most. So, but you just go with the flow. Do I want to do anything with that? I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to let the rest of it dry, and I'll come back to that one. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I want to put a little bird somewhere here. Which one can I put some birds here? Okay, so we do a little. Two little birds there, and then I think I'm going to do some leaves down here. And let's paint the birds orange. This is the Piemontite or Piemontite there, using it quite thick. A little wing. I don't know what she's growling at, but she doesn't mean it. Oh yes, the gold I can use the nice thick one from Kuretake to put some blobs on here. Okay, so that's that one done. So I've put a block of gold over the top of my failed flower there, and I'm going to now just do something completely different. Here I'm using quite a fine pen here. This is a 0.1, I think. Where did its end go? Never mind. Oh, here it is. Yes, 0.1. And I'm going to go around there a couple of times. Okay, and then what could we do else? We could do something like that. I think it's the little tiny details like the tiny dots and, you know, very, very small circles and things like that that make the difference somehow to this kind of thing. But I do think that organic is really good, you know, just maybe leaves or petals growing out of something like that just kind of softens the whole thing. And you can draw or paint over the gold as well. I'm going to leave that one now because, you know, I think as I'm showing in my clumsy way that you can't always get everything right. So here I'm going to do some leaves like this. I'm happiest doing leaves. Could make the bottoms where it joins onto the stem a little bit darker. Yes, I'm quite liking this one. Okay, and then one more here. Okay, and then maybe we'll do some berries and things up here. And down here, perhaps. Yeah, I think that one will do as it goes, so to speak. Let's see, what else could we do? I'll tell you what, here we could do and we'll just go around the outside edge a couple of times. And then Okay, and then we'll just do the veins up like that. Now we need to put something in these areas here, don't we? Got to put something there. Let me think, what should we put there? Perhaps the thing to do is to change our thickness a little bit of pen. Let's see. I know. This is what we can do. Something along those lines. And then maybe we could do some gold. There we are. Okay, so that's that one. Now the next one here, I quite like it when they go over, don't you? Don't you think that looks rather good? I think that might be quite striking. Supposing we did something that went up like this. And we'll go over that line again. Just fill in the circles. And what's this one for? Yeah. Put leaves on this one. And for this one, let's fill in the stem. Okay, so that's that one, and I think we probably need to put a little bit of orange somewhere on this row because we've got it on the top row but we haven't got any on this one. So let's just put some orange in these berries, shall we? Okay. Let us do something a little bit different. Some reeds with some bulrushes, and I think they're called something different in America, aren't they? I can't remember what they're called now. And maybe in this one we'll do something like that. And then in this one, let's do some roses. Like that, maybe. And then we need a black. I'm going to put some black dots. And then well, I don't really like that, but you know, can't help it. Can't always make it work. Let's go over here like this, and let's do multiple branching outs. Something like this. And then I want to do some nice, quite strong. It's a bit quicker if you do it with a nice big marker pen. And we could do I think a bit of orange would be a good idea there. Something like that. And then perhaps something really quite dark. Anything will do. And we're getting towards the bottom now. So let's think. I do think the quite fat pen, where's it gone? The brush. Let's think. Okay, that'll do for there. And then we need, I think I'm going to put some white dots on somewhere if I can find it. And maybe some complementary black ones here. And then obviously we need some gold veins. Oh. Oh. That's not going to come off because that's marker. Oh dear. So we've got all the way down there and we've done that. So what I'll have to do is pick up some paint. Needs to be thicker than that. I'll just leave it like that. That's always my famous fingers, famous fat fingers. Doesn't really matter. And on this one over here, I think we definitely need some orange. Just two little branches of leaves there, and then something like that. And then finally, let us do, that's no good, brush pen. Quite nice. And I think we can probably get away with a bit of gold on here. Not very visible, but perhaps it'll show up better if we put some white. And then what we haven't done, we haven't got any of these nice squirrely things, so we can do a few of those up here. Right then, so there we are, all done, finally. There we are, and I won't lift it up because you won't be able to see it if I do. But that was quite a long endeavour, but it's done now, and I hope you enjoyed that. With the exception of maybe the two in the corners here, which I'm not very happy with, the rest of them worked out okay. So you probably would want to plan it out a little bit in advance and have some ideas what you are going to be doing. But anyway, there we are, that's done. Have a lovely weekend, everybody, and I will see you again soon. Take care and do lots of painting. Bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.